Hi, so in this video, we're going to explore this question, which is what is workplace culture and why does it matter? The first thing to stress is that workplace culture isn't something that you announce. It's not something that, for example, leaders can proclaim at a conference and then simply have come into existence. Sure, you might see statements on websites, you might hear people actively talking about workplace culture, but ultimately, workplace culture is what people experience. And your strongest clue as to the workplace culture that's really in existence is going to be the way that they behave. And we're going to look at that in a little bit more detail. Okay, so to help us break down the various aspects of workplace culture, let's take a look at this diagram. It's a typical iceberg diagram, so it's showing us what is above the waterline, and we describe that as being the visible aspects of culture. So in here we do have things like the statements, the proclamations. But the key thing here, and this is really what is the most powerful indicator as to the workplace culture that's actually in existence, is people's behaviour. So it's the things that people say, the things that people do, how they act, the choices they make, the decisions that they take, the empowerment that you can observe, but also the things that people choose not to talk about, when people choose not to collaborate, stay silent, stay small. All of this really tells us about the actual workings, the mechanics, the reality of the workplace culture that is in existence. Also below the waterline, let's look at that. So this is what we call the unseen culture or the deep culture. So you've got all of the things here, things that people may or may not even be consciously doing, which is really interesting. So the relationships, dynamics, you've got things like politics, what's rewarded, what's ignored, and then you've got beliefs and values in there. I often refer to these as the unspoken rules and messages. They're just the way we do things around here. So you can have a beautifully articulated culture, you can have great statements, but culture isn't what leaders or HR tell us. Ultimately, culture is what people see, hear, experience, feel, and the behaviour that they display in response to that is what tells us the truth. Okay, so let's have a look at our final slide. And this is a statement from an organisation called Gallup. You may well have heard of them. They are a global organisation. They are a workplace analytics and research organisation, best known for a lot of their work that they do within the workplace strengths assessments. And they've been going since 1935, and I would absolutely recommend going on their website and having a look at their white papers, their articles, their blogs, their posts, etc., because there's a lot of great content in there that if you are genuinely interested in diving into workplace culture a bit more, there'll be bound to be some nuggets in there that you'll find super interesting. This is a statement that they created about what workplace culture is. I quite like it because it just simplifies our understanding of it and kind of gives it edges, and a bit of something a bit more tangible. So they talk about workplace culture here as being shared set of values, beliefs, attitudes, and behaviours that define how the organisation operates and how employees interact. The thing that I really love about this is they describe it as the organisation's personality, and how we do things around here. But they also highlight how it shapes employee engagement, performance, and well-being. So they make that lovely link between the culture and actually the benefits that organisations can gain by taking time, care, and nurturing the right environment, the right culture for their employees. What's the key takeaway from this? Well, if you want to have a great culture, if you want to shift, change, enhance, nurture a great workplace culture, ultimately you have to focus on what people feel, see, and experience every day, and also pay attention to the behaviours that they demonstrate, because that is going to be your most powerful clue as to the workplace culture that's really in existence.